Are you living your life like if this planet was to die off and say, however long it takes for everything on it to die, and all the water and fish eggs and plant seeds from this planet, Earth, after everybody's dead and gone, and then the planet goes into its dying stages, however long, how many million, billion years it takes, lose atmosphere, and then the water slowly evaporates into space and globulates and collects in a big glob, an ocean-sized glob of water with fish. Maybe fish are still there because there's oxygen in the water. But there's plant seeds and everything else, from plant seeds going down the rivers and into the ocean. And you got all the fish eggs. But anyway, so everything you do on this planet, even though over the billions or possibly trillions, well, I don't know, trillions of years, billions of years, trillions, and whatever. I'll just say infinite because I don't know how many how many years it takes for that water to hit another planet and all the fish and plant seeds to have the right temperature so they can the fish might do it anyway. The fish might be in charge of spitting seeds out onto the land or something. That's what those arrow fish are. Those they spit water at bugs. They might plant seeds by grabbing a seed and spitting it on land and causing it to grow. Anyway, so the next planet, say whatever it is, say it's Mercury. Well, whatever. If the sun's burning out, then it's going to be maybe the next closest planet to the sun. But it might take so long, and the planet might burn out quicker. Then it might be. Well, Mercury is the closest. Isn't Mercury the closest one to the sun? And Venus is the second one, and Mercury's close. Anyway, so say all the water. If they or another planet might come in and start orbiting just a little bit closer to the sun than Earth is. Who knows? And Earth might be kicked out or whatever. So all the thought and deeds and everything you've done here will be echoed in the water. It'll be held by the water that travels from this planet to the next planet. And it could possibly, there could be another way for all the thought and everything else, even though it's going to be conglomerated together with, could be animal thought and human thought, if there are humans even thinking. It's not all just animals and people are just living the animal dream. So anyway, which that's more to believe than anything else. So all the thought and everything transfers to the next planet. I'm not saying all of it, and I'm not saying you can pick it up, but then people on the next planet, or it'll go through animals, and animals will do what they do, go through all the stuff to make things, make other animals and stuff. And then finally they'll start making probably monkeys again until they do start making hominids, and then they might make some, Neanderthals or something like that. Or hominids might give birth to a different kind of hominid than the science talks. Anyway, so all these things go through, and then the thought from this planet is still around on the next planet, or it moves with the water and everything. And then it's transferred through maybe a popping seed. There might be a popping seed that might create a thought. And all the seeds that are going to be fallen, they've absorbed, maybe thought or whatever it is, an agenda, or there's probably not a word for it because nobody talks about this. So all this stuff is going to pop, and then maybe an animal hears it and has to go through the thought. It might take them 1,000,000 years to get through a popping seed, and or a blooming flower. If it takes a long time for flowers to bloom. but everything's going to come through. The first seed that, not necessarily the first seed that pops, but something's going to hear it or feel it, and then they're going to have to go through everything until that noise is settled. And that's basically what's going on, is everything has to be settled, but people keep creating more problem and more noise, and nothing ever gets settled. And you can blame government, you can blame all these different large groups for all of it. Government, religion, criminals, popularists, and you can blame them all, education system, for all the noise they continue to make. They're not saying, oh, we're trying to quiet stuff. They're not. I don't see, I don't see going to war quiet in anything. It was already quiet before a war. I don't see creating problems quiet in anything. And, but just think, whatever you're doing now on this planet is going to transfer to the next planet. And it might not be interpreted the same way you think. Even if you start thinking, well, I'm going to make my life better or worse or whatever. It's not necessarily. It might, but I mean, who's to say? Nobody's around to, animals, fish, a lizard might hear it and then graft some leaves to make a design. So the design looks like something. So another animal comes along, sees the design of the leaves. And I'm not saying he crafts them with his hand or his claws and stuff. I'm saying they craft it through, their imagination, and as it's blooming, they might walk on it and know that this pressure makes it grow this way, and then they might bite off a leaf here and stuff. They're not crafting it. They're not making it grow. It's growing, but then they might interrupt it to show a different shape. And so another animal will walk along, see the shape, and whether it's one animal, first animal, or 1,000 animals, might take a herd for one animal for it to register, and it starts thinking of that shape, and then that carries on. So that's, anything like that is what it's like before humans. And even, humans, they see something else in it. So it's the same thing. But anything you do, everything you say, all your actions here, all your thoughts here are going to transfer to the next planet. Now, are you going to be born on the next planet? I'm not going to say you be born on the next planet. There might be a look-alike like you. I'm not saying everything. What you've lived through, if you've lived through it, then more than likely up to that point, or you're going to be your next generation of you. Only you're not going to think of what you've already lived. You're going to think of maybe what you've thought. I'm not saying if you think you're king that you're going to be king on the next planet. That thought will come to somebody else, and it'll be, just like it is here. Who's to say you're going to be king? Who's to say you're going to be a moose, or who's going to say you're going to be popular? That stuff, there's people, there's dogs and sharks and everybody. I mean, I'm not talking animals, I'm talking people, go around and they try to take everything they can get. And if you ain't born yet, they're going to take it before you, and then you're going to be left struggling. And you could be born into that and everything else. And, you can plan everything, but then you still got to go through the chaos of a fish spitting a seed onto land on another planet, and a lizard designing leaves on a tree for a bison or something, or a dinosaur to see it. Then the dinosaurs have to go through their whatever before they go to the next planet. So whatever you're thinking now, it'd probably be better if the whole generation of people on a planet, through the very first, like say, even if hominids, all the way into the generations of however many people down the road it's going to take, everybody on the planet is going to, if they all thought the same thing, you might be a single race. You know, I'm not saying color-wise. I'm saying you'll all be thinking it'll transfer. You know, it might or it might not. You know, who's to say? But more than likely, if everybody through the whole time, because it's in reality, the whole human race hasn't been here this long and it won't be here that long. Even if they live a billion years, it's not that long, especially when it gets destroyed when the planet's gone. And all this thought moves to another planet combined with everything else, all the energies, all the movement of tree limbs that cause you to realize all your freaking drug habits, all the stuff that you've done. Or maybe you were triggered by something stupid, and maybe people walking around thinking, well, that triggered me, you know, just to be funny, and that could cause a complete disruption, you know, and it could mess everything up. So you're not, as a race, you're gonna, it's, you know, I'm figuring the way you people have destroy everything and don't take life. I mean, all life, animal life and everything. You eat meat. So I'm taking that since each planet so far, I think has become more destructive. The next planet, I don't know, maybe 10 times more destructive than this one. Maybe you're all going to be running around, you know, with no out of to say, hey, let's stop this. There's going to be no way to stop it. You're going to all be running around killing each other. You know, people have babies in secret, and people running around trying to kill them. So anyway, because you got abortion. I mean, you killing animals and all this. It's just saying, whatever you're doing now, it's more than likely going to transfer to the next planet in some way, shape, or form. It's going to be combined. It might be combined with 10 million other people that have already been born, and it's going to be in a story. And all you're going to be is a letter in the story, maybe in a movie, if they have movies in the next planet, because they're going to be killing everybody or whatever. And there's going to be a letter in the movie, and it's going to shine a little different. It's going to, in the title, in that movie, maybe there'll be a headlight flash on the screen that'll make you see that letter a little different than it normally would be. And that'll be your whole thought from this planet. Everything you've ever done, that's all it'll amount to on the next planet. Could, unless it's a necessity. I mean, you'd have to be, I don't think there's a possibility of anybody being remembered on the next planet for being anything on this planet. Just saying.